What's up guys, my name is Tom, welcome back to another video here for the part 3 of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Today is time for the Vietnam Grand Prix. If you haven't watched the previous 2 episodes, I highly recommend to go check it out. The links are going to be in the description, but before hitting the track, we have a lot of free time to fill with some activity. So first we're going to fill with the chassis equipment upgrade, which we need. Our chassis is not the best in the world. I think we are the worst in terms of chassis, and then we're going to fill with the weight training is going to help in the pace of our teammate, which in terms of road pace he beat us in the last 2 races, but in terms of road pace I think I'm still better than him. And then we're going to visit the headquarters, and then we are going to have a driver filming day, which is going to help us definitely in the social media of the team and get better sponsors. But now we're skipping some days. The front wing upgrade is ready for this weekend. Then we have some resource points, and we're going to stop here to spend some of them. So we have already 2 engine upgrades, if you don't know, but I'm going to buy another one because our engine, the Ren, is not the best, but we dropped behind Haas, as you can see, but it's a thing that I'm going to talk about later on. And unfortunately the other air upgrade failed, so he's going to be definitely ready for the next episode. But there he is. We are ready for the Vietnam Grand Prix at Hanoi, which it was postponed in real life. And in the performance chart, as you can see, Haas, despite bringing some upgrades, Haas overtook us. So if that front wing upgrade, rear wing, I want to say, was ready, I think we should be just a pixel ahead of Haas. But we have to choose now a rival. It was between actually the 2 Haas drivers, and I decided to choose between Kevin Magnussen because things between me and him were a bit frosty, let's say the least, in the last Bahrain Grand Prix. So it should be fun. Hopefully he doesn't ram us off like in real life. And here we are at Vietnam, and let me say, this track is an absolutely bonkers of a track. So hard, but it's crazy hard, this track. We are here in the track acclimatization, we passed the test. But let me say, this track was so hard, and I still struggle at this track. It's going to take me a while to master this track. I didn't do any practice, any time trial at this track, so I knew that I was going to struggle. I already knew the track layout, but I didn't know the braking zones, the perfect corner speed, so it took me a while. I think I spent 1.5 hours in practice just to get used to the track. Generally I took just about an hour or less, but here I took way more time. And despite this track being hard, for the first time I passed in the tire wear program, which it was really weird to say the least. So I just passed 2 practice programs. It was the track acclimatization and the tire wear program. Then I tried the qualifying pace, but as you can see we are 1.8 seconds off. I'm still with a 100 difficulty, no setup, but I'm struggling so much doing this practice session. I didn't finish last in any of them. But I'm a little bit worried about, because I don't want to lower any more the difficulty, and I'm still struggling. So hopefully qualifying is not going to be that bad. But here we are on practice 3, where we're going to have heavy rain conditions. This track that is already so hard, mixing with the heavy rain conditions is a recipe for disaster. But I decided to, despite having all practice programs already done, I decided to get a taste of wet weather for the first time in F1 2020, and at this track as well, because it was so hard. Then we switched to the intermediates, yeah, it's not going to matter anyway, because during qualifying the race is going to be a dry race. It's going to be a lot of very cloudy during the race, but then qualifying I think is going to be sunny. But as you can see through the first corner, so much understeer in this car. Mix that with the aero of this car, which I already drove the Mercedes in time trial, and this car is a complete opposite. The Mercedes is on rails. I'm thinking about doing some time trial videos. I'm not the best driver in the world, definitely I'm not in the top of the tables, but I think I'm a solid driver and I could teach you pretty well the track. So let me know in the comments if you want to know if want to get to know these tracks. But here we are in qualifying. Now is the moment of the truth to see if we have some pace during qualifying. It's going to be a harsh qualifying, I'm not gonna lie. So we already set the first time, it was a 1:39 flat, so now we're going to our best lap. So into mounting a little bit the curve, then this corner is absolutely a nightmare to be so patient, and patience is not my virtue, to be honest. But we'll press on. That's a bit of a corner cut, I'm not gonna lie. We're going to open the DRS, and now we're going to have the first of the longest straight. If you think that this straight is long, and wait for the next one, as we're going to the braking zone, middle of the 150 and 100 brake marker. Make sure to hit the apex beautifully. And here we want to get a wider line as possible and get a slingshot, hit the apex. It's a late apex corner, like in Zandvoort it has a lot of late apex corners. I'm going to jump to that once we hit Netherlands, but to open the DRS, and now this race is super long. We are 4/10 up, so the first lap was really full of mistakes, and now we're going to hit just about the 100 brake mark. You can hit once the cup starts, but I think I don't have enough confidence in this tall Motorsport car. Make sure to have a good traction, because you want to be in first gear in the apex, but then you want to switch very quickly to the second gear, and make sure to use all the track available, going to third gear there, and then we are going in the hardest part of the track. For me is really hard, and for me especially in terms of the tire wear, because of the carcass temperature, as you make sure to hit the apex here. Fourth gear you can get definitely going fifth with the Mercedes in time trial, maybe in Grand Prix mode with a heavy car. We missed the apex in the penultimate code, so that's not ideal. We dropped a lot of time through the last corner. I saw some guys in these cars going in fifth gear, but I can't go in fifth gear there. I have to manage to go in fourth gear, and we cross the line, and we is still last place of this race. So things are not going really good for me. I still need 100% difficulty percent, but now we lost the back end in our last lap, and that's the end of qualifying for us, because we made a mistake. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to start in last place of this Vietnam Grand Prix. So we're going to watch the replay. Yes, I put the power down too early. I wasn't gaining any time anyway. I was making a lot of mistakes. So just to see how much I was struggling this track. It's a very hard track. So this track is going to separate the men from the boys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really curious to see how I'm going to do in online comparing to the other ones, but there he is. We are 3/10 away of Nicholas Latifi, and the Latifi's AI is the worst one of the 2020 grid. But yeah, it was a very disappointing qualifying, but we'll see if he can pull something through with the race. So without further ado, let's go to Sunday for the Vietnam Grand Prix.
Welcome along to the Vietnamese capital of Hanoi, a vibrant city built on the banks of the magnificent Red River. Today it's the backdrop for the latest round of the Formula One World Championship, with a circuit specifically designed to encourage overtaking opportunities. I think we could be in for a cracking race today. It's a track that combines the bespoke design of a traditional race circuit with the tight, close barriers of a street track that our drivers race on today. 23 corners and a total distance of 3.4 miles. Watch out in particular for overtaking into the braking zone at turn 11. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Why don't we start by talking about Valtteri Bottas? That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris and Sergio Perez, Stroll, Ocon, Daniel Kvyat and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Roman Grosjean, Russell, Giotto, Latifi and Thomas. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Not even the team ready from Jeff. He's so disappointed with us that he doesn't want to talk before the race. But there he is, guys. Welcome to the Vietnam Grand Prix. He's going to be a one-stop, but then I decided to switch to two-stop because this is a good track for overtaking, I reckon, because of the huge straight, but you can get stuck. We'll get the answer in the next 28 laps for the Vietnam Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. It seems that is a good start against Latifi, and our teammate Giotto so close to the pit wall, as you can see, but he just gave us some room as we go into turn 1. We'll see, we go over to Grosjean, we're following Giotto around the outside of Gasly. We try to go around the outside of Giotto's. They'll turn it a little bit into us, but no contact, thankfully, between the two Tom Motorsport cars. I think that is the last thing that we want to happen. But getting a little bit close to Magnussen, that is side by side with Luca, and at the moment we gain some position. So it's not the end of the world, but yeah, points are definitely out of the bag. But we'll see if we can get a positive result, to say the least, as Giotto gets on the inside of Magnussen, and now Gasly is trying to go on the inside of Magnussen as well. He converts my move into a double an attempt to a double overtake, but he can't do. He touched a little bit in his front wing end plate with a Haas, as now we're going through the huge straight. Let's see if he can get some slipstream. It's going to be very hard because everyone is stuck in each other's slipstream. No DRS at the moment is going to be deployed once we get onto lap 3, but look at the size of this straight. It's absolutely bonkers of the straight. Thankfully the slipstream is not that powerful, so the overtake is going to be much challenging as we go round the outside of Magnussen. So a beautiful move. He breaks a little bit early, and now we're going to force our way very awkwardly, squeezing very awkwardly as well the Williams of George Russell, and that is a nice double overtake. A little bit you know, a little bit dirty, I can say, on the Williams, but that happened. Is really tight, let me say. It's very hard to perform an overtake without squeezing your an AR car, and it's going to be much challenging when it comes to online, when everyone doesn't want to give any sort of room. But we're going on the inside through the roundabout on Kyoto, so that was a bit forced move as well. I'm not gonna lie, but we have to press on, and we are catching this train, so I was a little bit relieved that I was catching this train, starting with the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi ahead of us, and I think who's leading this train is one of the McLarens I can see in the minimap. So I don't know if he has damage, but I think this is a bit of a relief, because maybe we can have some pace against these guys. But the dirty air in this game, and with the corners in the last sector, it's so hard to keeping up with these guys. And then the carcass temperature started to rise. It's a thing that I'm struggling this game. Are the carcass temperatures, so it's a thing that we have to watch that, and I need to practice in some races that I need to keep an eye in the carcass temperature, because at the moment I'm really struggling, especially in the fast corners. This Gasly is so close to the wall, as you can see. Magnussen not giving any sort of room, just about, but Magnussen managed to make the move, and the Tom Motorsport car that is seeing ahead of the AlphaTauri is our car. So Gasly, it seems that it was just in lap 1 that he lost some pace, because everyone is punched up, you know, and now is starting to gain some pace. The AlphaTauri is definitely much faster than our car, but I decided to pit a lap early because I was stuck behind these guys. I don't know what strategy are going to be for them. I reckon maybe it's going to be a 1-stop, but because it was a recommended one, but I'm going to stick with a 2-stop. It's the first time I should say that we're going to do the 2-stop in this career mode series. So I hope it does pay off, because these guys are going to be stuck in each other's DTS. So we're going to undercut massively, probably, but we're going to have an extra stop to do. But hopefully they're going to be stuck on traffic for the whole race, and maybe we can, I'm not saying point, but at least maybe a P15 or maybe a P14 would be good, considering the track that we have. But this is Nicholas Latifi, that is in P21, behind by an absolute mile, because he's on the medium tires and he's struggling for pace, so he's 18 live probably, and we have to dispatch him. So Nicholas Latifi is being very slow in these early stages of the career mode, so he's mega slow. So if you're ahead of Latifi, don't be proud, because he's not a good reference. He's the slowest AI by far. It's much slower than Giotto. But we're going to come back to our race and try to make a move on this guy, because we're losing so much time behind the Williams, and we need to perform this undercut strategy, this 2-stop strategy, which means we can't lose with guys that are in the same race, in the different race than us. So open the DRS, overtake mode. I shouldn't engage the overtake mode, because there's no point. I have the slipstream and the DRS and the rich mix, and managing the ERS here is an absolute challenge because of the mega straights, and then the braking zone, the hard braking zones are not that much around this circuit. It's just that happen, and the roundabout as Norris goes on the inside of Latifi. Look how much difficulty the McLaren on the softs against the Williams with old medium tires, and now look how much distance that the McLaren already has. It's just in the space of the traction zone, and now he's going to be vulnerable to the racing point of Sergio Perez and the AlphaTauri of Gasly, but he just closes the door. So Latifi not giving up these positions. He's doing everything, it seems. So it's good to see that the AI is really aggressive this year, and Gasly is going to sail past him around the outside probably, as we're following Sergio Perez. I don't know why, but I think Gasly definitely made the move stick, and we are in P21, but it's going to be a much higher position, because now Kyoto is pitting as well for the Haas of Grosjean and the AlphaTauri of Gasly. So yeah, definitely we undercut these guys massively, and you're going to see that we undercut the Alfa Romeo, both Alfa Romeos, the Renault, and we are getting closer to the McLarens, as you can see, because they are still behind the Williams. So that replay cam is a laps further than we are at the moment in the RPOV, so apologies that bad timing. But at the moment we find ourselves in P15, but it seems that not anymore, because Gasly is going to sail past us, and let's be honest, there's no point to battle Gasly, because it's a different car, and we need to improve a lot if we want to overtake AlphaTauri. In the next victim, we are the next victim of Esteban Ocon, and I have absolutely no chance to overtake this guy. And look how much he already pulled away, and we're going to try to get some slipstream of Ocon. I tried to take just a little look on the inside, but no room at all. Despite having the hard tires, the Renault is so much faster than the Storm Motorsport car. A thing that I found really hard in this car is understeer and the traction in the slow corners. I think in the fast corners is not that bad, in the braking zone as well, but in the fast corners it's understeer city. The carcass temperature starts to rise, like I said. And yeah, trying to get some slipstream of the Renault, but it's not that powerful. I was trying to save some ERS and some fuel, because we're going to need to defend the guys that are in the same race. But now we are under pressure of Kimi Räikkönen, but I decided to pit, and we're going to dress a brand new set of medium tires, and we'll go till the end of the race in this compound. So Räikkönen is on the hard tires as well for many others, like the likes of Gasly and the Renault of Ocon and many others. I think the front runners are in the one stop, so I think it's just the guys behind, as the likes of me, Giotto and Russell, and the Haas's as well, and that are sticking with the 2 stops. So I think this can pay off for the back markers, but I think it's not going to be maybe a good strategy to score points. But hopefully now with the better tires, we can overtake these guys, and they are stuck in each other's dirt. Yeah, so we'll see where we're going to rejoin. So it's a very interesting pit exit, to say the least, this Hanoi circuit. But this corner, the long right hand, is an absolute nightmare. I can't master that corner. I think I can master with a racing line, obviously, but I don't want to race with a racing line anymore. So we skipped forward a few laps earlier, starting lap 18, and you can see the Toro Rosso of Gasly. So he actually was in the 2 stop, and he got ahead of us. So Gasly now is going to pull away, and ahead of him is George Russell that he has to pit as well, and should get him ahead of him very easily. He's just 14 seconds ahead, so definitely we're going to get ahead of him. So we have now some yellow flags. He is Alexander Albon that is out of the race. It was Hamilton. I can assure you it was an engine failure, but no safety car, virtual safety car, to maybe save our race and maybe dress a brand new a fresh set of tires. So unfortunately we didn't have a safety car like we did in Bahrain, and Bahrain saved the safety car, saved a little bit the race. But there is Grosjean on the charge, slipstream, TRS, and look how powerful the slipstream is in this game. Despite being less than F1 2019, he's trying on the inside, but we managed to hold the Rani aside. Good traction, but he's still a long side. But we're going to manage to give him a little bit, maybe a little bit of a squeeze as we go into the next turn. And yeah, we squeeze him very harshly, and we maintain in P17. So I'm finding very hard to manage to get these guys behind them, because I'm starting to feel that I wear faster in these medium tires, as Grosjean now has better momentum and gets the nose stand in, and he's going to hit the curb, and he squeezes very aggressively. So that's some karma, because George Russell gets ahead of us, and we did a similar overtake on him on lap 1. So definitely that results in a lot of understeer into the space of one corner. We lost 2 positions, so that was really unfortunate. But we're going to watch the replay. That was a bit rude of Grosjean, but I think yeah, I think the curb is really high at that happen, and it results a lot of understeer. So yeah, it's a thing to learn about this circuit. Don't mount that curb, because you're going to lose a lot of time, especially if you are in a qualifying lap and maybe in overtake. But it went well for Grosjean, but he squeezes very aggressively. So I think he hit a little bit the Socha's curb on the inside of the corner. So we're going to see the replay. So he's still in the replay, so bad timing on the commentary. So we're going to watch Russell's POV. So he was kind of boxed in, so he couldn't make anything. He's on the soft tire, so definitely is going to be much faster than us. So Grosjean, yes, he hit the yellow Socha curb to lose all the momentum. That resulted in understeer, and yeah, there was nothing that Grosjean could do, and I was forced off to the track. Now we're going to watch his onboard view, and yeah, he definitely braked much later than us, but then yeah, he hit slightly the Socha's curb, and there was nothing that he could do, and that sent him into understeer, and yeah, unfortunately he's going to be P19 in this race. A very disappointing Vietnam Grand Prix, and yeah, it's a new track for me, and there's nothing that I could do. It's a very hard track, it's a very crazy track, and I need to spend a lot of time in time trial. And remember, I'm running with no setup at the moment. I think in the next episode I might run with a setup, because a lot of setups are now being released for this game. But yeah, P19 it is. We're going to finish ahead of Latifi and Giotto. Giotto miles behind us, and Latifi as well. So the Williams actually managed to finish ahead of our teammates, so that's not very good. But yeah, it was an awful race, but at least I learned a little bit more about this circuit, and it should provide good racing once we are up the field.
job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the Vietnam Grand Prix. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So another Mercedes win, so the Mercedes confirming their supremacy even in the game. Valtteri Bottas win, and these things should be close in terms of the Drivers' Championship. But there is in our league, we are P19, at least we gain some positions. The Albon's retirement definitely helped us out. But yeah, it's going to be a long journey, it's going to be a huge challenge to get up the field. And the Vietnam Grand Prix was a true example of that. In the Championship, there is Hamilton 9 points ahead of Valtteri Bottas, and we are still with 0 points in the Championship. So like I said, it's going to be a hard journey, and we're still behind of Luca Giotto because he finished ahead of us in the last 2 races. In the Constructors' Championship, we at least are the best team when it comes to the non-scorers. But guys, that has been the episode, the third episode I should say, of my F1 2020 My Team career mode. And the next episode is going to be the Chinese Grand Prix, so it's a better track for me, so hopefully we can do something better, and I'm going to have a setup for that track, so hopefully things can go better. I don't say points, because points maybe are going to come, I want to predict maybe in the second half of the season. I think the car is going to be competitive to the points at that time, but there is the cash and all that stuff. But I'll see you guys for a brand new video next time, and I want to apologize as well for the lack of career mode videos. I'm in the final stages of my exams. I finish everything on Friday, and after that I'm going to be plowing on with a lot of career mode content, so I hope you guys understand. But I'll see you guys for the part 4 at the Chinese Grand Prix in the next few days, but for now it's goodbye.